on time.
Do you need me to bring paper sign-in sheet for people?
I have a sign-in sheet that I'll put out in a second, yeah. I just didn't put it out for the writing since there was nobody
I see,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to place a sign-in sheet. I'll place it on this table over here if anyone would like to sign in. If you want to receive a copy of the decision that's issued on this case, it's important that you sign in, print your name and address legibly. Whatever decision that is made on this application is appealable to the Area Planning Commission. There's a 15-day appeal period from the mailing date of the decision letter to file an appeal. If you don't sign in, you won't receive a copy. The decision, I know you received a copy of a hearing notice if you're within 500 feet of the subject property. The determination letter is only mailed to the applicant and to abutting property owners. So if you want to receive a copy of the decision letter, make sure that you sign in, please, okay? In the event that the case was appealed, there would be another notification, but again, the determination letter itself is only mailed to abutting owners and whoever signs in at the public hearing. I just want to be very clear about that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and take up case number ZA 2017-4390 CUB. This is for the property located at 325 South Oceanfront Walk. Now, is the representative here
Yes.
for this case? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So the request before me has been filed pursuant to LA Municipal Code Section 12.24 W1. The applicant seeks a conditional use to allow the sale and dispensing of a full line of alcoholic beverages for on-site consumption in conjunction with an existing 1,830 square foot restaurant having 74 indoor seats plus a 312 square foot outdoor patio on the public right-of-way along Oceanfront Walk with 50 outdoor seats, as well as, I think this is now proposed, or I don't know if it's already been authorized in the past, a 148 square foot outdoor patio on the public right-of-way along Dudley Avenue. And again, the restaurant's hours are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to midnight Friday and Saturday. What I'm going to first do is allow the applicant's representative to come on up and make a presentation concerning the request. I may have some questions during the presentation, I may not, I may hold my questions till later. Once the applicant's presentation is concluded, I'll then open up the hearing for public comment. Anyone who wants to speak, just raise your hand. And this is an awkward room, it's not your typical formal hearing room, so maybe I can just have you come up, seat at the front, or you can speak from wherever you're at, and just try and limit your testimony to 1 to 2 minutes. And then once the public comment portion of the hearing is concluded, I will close the public comment portion of the hearing. You want me to do that? Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah. Once the, yeah, you want to put it over there? Yeah. Thank you. Once the public comment portion of the hearing is concluded, I will close that portion of the hearing, and there will be no further opportunities for public comments. The applicant has an opportunity to come back and respond to the public comments. I can ask additional questions at that time. At the end of the hearing, I'll either make a decision or I could take the request under advisement depending on the circumstances. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And if you can give me your name and address, please.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Zoning Administrator. My name is Andrew Rodriguez. I am here with, from Art Rodriguez and Associates representing Candle Cafe. Candle Cafe has been in operation for over 30 years at the same location by the same operator. Candle Cafe was first granted a conditional use permit for beer and wine in 2003 and renewed the entitlement again in 2008. As it is time to renew the alcohol entitlement once again, we are asking for an upgrade to allow a full line of alcoholic beverages to be served for on-site consumption. There will be no changes to the hours nor operation of the restaurant. With the exception of a full line of alcohol being served, everything else will remain the same from the previous conditional use permit. The Type 47 ABC license for an on-site eating establishment with a full line of alcoholic beverages will replace the existing beer and wine license, and the beer and wine license will then be canceled. Therefore, there will not be a net increase in the number of alcohol licenses in the area. We would also like to emphasize that there will be no fixed bar area inside the restaurant. The application has been through tremendous review by various city departments. We had to provide extensive documentation for both outdoor dining patio areas to the planning and to planning and the Department of Building and Safety before they cleared us to submit our application. In addition to our assigned project planner and DBS, we have also been in contact with the Venice specific planner, Juliet O, who signed off on our project planning referral form. We sent our application to LAPD Pacific Division Vice for the review. I spoke with Officer Madi Guerrero, who looked over our application with her supervisor. On February 1st, 2018, Officer Guerrero sent me an email stating that LAPD Vice does not oppose any of the changes requested. We have presented our application in several public settings. We held a public outreach meeting as required by the Venice Neighborhood Council on January 29th, 2018. At that meeting, we did hear from several residents regarding their concerns associated with the area, but the concerns were not directly associated with our client's operation. We then took our application to the Neighborhood Council's Land Use and Planning Committee and finally to the full Neighborhood Board. The full Venice Neighborhood Council voted in favor of the application just last week at their February 20th meeting. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have. The operator is also here as well to answer any questions related to the business.
Yeah, so your last authorization was the December 11, 2008 grant?
Yes, that is correct.
And just to clarify, so you've got 74 interior seats and then 55 seats in the patio on Oceanfront Walk, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And your plans that you submitted also show a patio on Dudley Avenue. So that one wasn't authorized in the 2008 grant?
Yes, they're in the old entitlement. The entitlement references a legalized outdoor seating on Dudley Avenue, the old LOD. And that was attained through a revocable permit.
So I guess what I'm asking is to be clear, Dudley, the patio on Dudley, was it authorized under the 2008 grant?
Well, the 2008 LOD references the seating on Dudley, and they say that.
Where does it reference it?
I have it.
Is it in the conditions or is it in the findings?
In the findings.
Okay, but the conditions don't explicitly
Yeah, it's in the findings.
reference that. Okay, what I don't have is a copy of the original, the Exhibit A that was approved in 2008. Would the patio on Dudley be included on that in 2008? Just some. Okay. And beyond that, you're saying that there's no changes to the operation?
No, hours will remain the same. And just to be clear, both patios are in the public right of way, correct? Yes.
And based on your floor plan, it looks like you've got a 12-foot dimension, a 10-foot plus a 2-foot dimension on Oceanfront Walk on the right of way. And then you've got, I guess, a width of about 2 feet 6 inches. And both of these have been, I understand in Venice, I think you need authorization from Department of Rec and Parks.
We have those as well.
Okay.
Only coastal commission.
So here's the revocable permit. Here's the fee paid. So this is also part of this one. And this one is for Oceanfront Walk. And this is the revocable permit.
Okay, anything else? And just to be clear, this is a building with multiple tenants, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you've got several tenants fronting on Dudley Avenue, and I think you have a tenant next door fronting on Oceanfront Walk as well. Another restaurant.
I don't believe that the restaurant on Oceanfront Walk is the same property.
It's part of this building, it's not, it's a separate building.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, for now, I don't have any more questions at this point in time, if you want to have a seat.
Sure.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open it up for public comments. So we can start, let me just get a show of hands to see how many people want to testify so I can get a sense of how many people are here. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, very good. Sir, did you raise your hand?
I'd like to go last.
Come on, we'll go row by row, and come on up, and if you could state your name and address, please.
My name is Howard Gabe.
I'm sorry?
Howard Gabe, G-A-B-E, 817 18th Street, Santa Monica, 913. I've known Ali for over 30 years. The day he came to the beach, I was the first person that spoke to him.
Ollie is the applicant?
Yes, I had a store called the Cadillac Hotel, is also on Dudley and Oceanfront Walk, right opposite the restaurant. I knew the people at the beginning before we even got there. It was a restaurant under a woman named Olga, and then she had some problems, and eventually Ali got to the location, and he was a great friend and a great person that, you know, a retailer. I'm a retailer, and he was a restaurant. It was wonderful. People that worked for him have been there for years. He did the right things in the area. He was always getting persecuted for one reason or another because Oceanfront Walk was a tough spot. They gave me problems as well because I had a store. You had to do certain things to be able to get to where you're entitled to be. And so I'm here in support of him. He did a great job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and come on.
First of all, I'd like to give you this letter from the Coastal Commission.
Thank you.
In case you don't have it. Okay, so my name is Dr. Judy Goldman. I'm a resident of Dudley Avenue for 40 years. And I want to be clear that we're not speaking against the owner of the Candle Cafe so much as we are very concerned that, first of all, the public right-of-way on our residential street will be now basically an outdoor bar serving hard liquor to tourists. Because generally, even though I think you're going to hear from some neighbors here, you're not going to hear from one neighbor who lives on Dudley who would like to see this project. Because we are the higher intensity of use of a hard liquor license is more than our little community can bear. This establishment is one of 3 in a row that serves alcohol, and there's one across the street at the Cadillac, and we're suffering from the safety and health issues that result from having these. And so having a bar added to this with people being served hard liquor on our sidewalk up until late at night, starting early in the morning, is unfair to the neighbors. It puts us in a position where we're living basically in an entertainment zone where people who come from all over the world to Venice to have a good time who become, inebriated. And this particular operator does serve alcohol to people when they're not eating food. So that's a concern for us, that people are going to be sitting there drinking on our public right-of-way without eating food. So this is not going to be a fine dining place, this is going to be a bar. So bottom line, the proposed use is going to detrimentally affect the single-family and multifamily residential homes that are immediately adjacent, and I mean a few feet away. As you know, the census tract already has 3 times the number of outlets, and even though this isn't an additional one, I think it's important to know that this operator has a letter from the Coastal Commission saying that he's supposed to have parking, and he is supposed to have a coastal development approval to be in a public right-of-way. We have not seen anything from the Coastal Commission that shows that this operator is in compliance with that. And we're concerned that somebody who's not in compliance would continue to operate in ways that are not safe and are not conducive to being adjacent to a residential neighborhood with families and children. And I want to point out that not one person on the adjacent street, Dudley Avenue, is in support of this project. I don't know if you received the letters that came to the Venice Neighborhood Council. And by the way, the vote was very close, and the staff person who did the report for this recommended waiting a month to find out if all the paperwork was in place. And a number of people in our community, not just on our street, are very concerned about bypassing the Coastal Commission request to get approval to be on a public right-of-way. And again, I want to reiterate, having people just a stone's throw from our homes on the sidewalk drinking until late at night, starting at early in the morning, is unfair to the neighbors. And in terms of the findings, I do not think that the proposed use is going to have a positive effect on the welfare of this community. I don't think we need it. I don't think that the approval of this application is going to contribute to anything except an undue concentration of alcohol. And I think we're all going to suffer as a result of it. So thank you very much. And I don't know if you received the letters that went into the neighborhood council. I want to make sure that you have copies of all the letters.
Yeah, if these were submitted to the neighborhood council, I don't know that they actually made it into this file.
Well, it should have. And
If they're not submitted directly to the city, to the case file, I don't know that the neighborhood council would.
well, that's the
Forward,
problem.
forward.
You know, we're working people. I work full time. This is the third time I've left work to come to a hearing to speak on this. And our neighbors, you will hear, we have a lot of neighbors who have left their day jobs to come and speak about this, not because we want to oppose somebody to run a business, but because we want to protect our safety and the quality of our life in our homes. We clean up vomit, urine, and by the way, it's not homeless people. Some of the operators say it's the homeless people who are doing this. It's the people who drink too much because they're selling alcohol to people who come to party. And they walk a few steps up to our street, and lo and behold, they party on our street, keep us up at night, wake us up, and then we clean up after them every single
But
morning.
you're saying they're not necessarily patrons of the restaurant.
It's the patrons of the restaurants, absolutely, because we've gone out there and we've talked to them. We know exactly who they are. And they are served too much alcohol without food. I don't care what you're told. We know for a fact, we've been down there, we've ordered, you know, alcohol. Many of us have ordered alcohol and not ordered food, and it's just fine with them. And people, you know, it's operating as a bar on the sidewalk, which is just crazy because it's literally a few steps from
Let
our
me ask you
home.
this question. If they were simply asking, if they were not asking to upgrade from beer and wine to a full line, would you have any objections?
You know, at this point, I think I do have some objections, but the upgrade is the most serious thing to us because it attracts a much higher intensity of use. People come to drink at a bar, and if you look at the three places right there, it's just oversaturated. It's way over what the census tract is supposed to have, and our little street has more than any other street, and you know, in the whole neighborhood.
And again, going back to the current operation with beer and wine, is they're currently selling right now?
Well, this issue has brought to our attention that
I'm sorry, let me ask the question.
Sorry.
Yeah. I know you stated that, you know, people sit in the patio and they don't necessarily have food. I got that part. Are there any other problems with the operation and with the patrons?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, everybody's gonna have a chance. Okay.
You'll hear about some of the problems. My main problem is that I can't trust somebody who would go to the Coastal Commission, ask for a permit, and then not go back to the Coastal Commission, but go around the Coastal Commission to the city and get another kind of permit and operate on our sidewalk. You can't literally, I have somebody who's in a wheelchair who comes to my family, they cannot get down the sidewalk. That public right-of-way is not available to a handicapped person. That to me makes this operation very questionable.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you have it? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll move on. I have someone in the back that's raising their hand. Come on up.
So,
Give me 1 second.
yeah. I have some pictures that you can see too, so you can see what she's talking about.
I've got some photos here, so if I need more photos,
Okay,
I'll let
if
you
you need more, I'll give you more.
Yeah. Let's start with your name and address.
Yeah, I'll write it down for you. 'Cause it's really easy. Have you been down to the area we're talking about?
I'm familiar with
Sort of
it.
see
Yeah.
the setup, because it's quite unique.
Okay, thank you.
So, like I said, the whole situation on walk streets, which there are only a handful of, and oceanfront walk, it's a very unique situation. I don't think you'd find it anywhere outside of maybe New Orleans, Louisiana. The proximity to a massive tourist center and our residential homes is a matter of a few feet. And this business operates as it is relatively well within the community. I myself have had several problems with them. This is their tables every morning, dragging tables, dragging heaters. It starts at 5 a.m., the setup, loud. I mean, it's wakes me up every single morning. Between midnight, sometimes between 11:30 and 1, the same thing happens, putting it all back in. So there are people out here shaking their heads saying it's not a disturbance and the place is a disturbance. It's a disturbance. It wakes people up. As far as that actual, when you talk about a patio where people sit, it is not a patio that people are sitting on Dudley Avenue. They are sitting on a sidewalk that is blocked by tables and chairs, which used to take up the whole patio, the sidewalk space. I went into the city and I talked to the city building and safety, second floor zoning about the problem. They sent somebody out. They said they were definitely in violation. They were taking up all of the space on the sidewalk. I have a tenant in my back unit who has 2 very small children. She cannot get down that side of the sidewalk and is forced to walk with her stroller on the street, where I have pictures of trucks pulling in and out all hours of the day and night to provide, linens and uniforms. And this particular day I got these pictures. It was actually kitchen appliances. So it's a busy little street off Speedway, and you need to walk on the sidewalk to be safe. And you cannot walk on the sidewalk on Dudley where these tables and chairs are set up. Adding full alcohol to the mix is exactly what Judy said. It is having an open bar on a residential street. I want you to think my house is 5 buildings up. Would you like to have a bar outside 5 doors down from you? It's a nightmare. It's unsafe for kids to be around it because people are drinking and they're getting rowdy. It's already rowdy enough where we live. We don't need it to get any rowdier.
Now just one thing, correct me if I'm wrong. Is vehicular traffic permitted on the street here?
Dudley.
On Dudley Avenue?
On Dudley
All
where,
the way to
so where these
to
businesses
Oceanfront?
are.
Yep.
So there's Speedway, and then there's Dudley, the walk street. You would be making a left. If you're going up the walk street, you make a right and you can drive. And it is constant cars.
Okay, and the
dropping
delivery
off.
vehicles, where do they usually park at?
Want to see pictures?
On the street.
Actually, you can email those
Okay.
to me.
But just so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the building, Campbell Cafe. There's the beach and Oceanfront Walk.
Right.
There's a large truck and there's another large truck, and this large truck was blocking
Right.
because his guy was unloading stuff and he didn't have a place to fit.
Okay.
On the other side is Cadillac Hotel, and they have people dropping off and picking up all day.
Okay. My email is fernando.tobar@alleycity.org.
I'll get it from you at the end.
Yeah.
Do you have it on something?
No, but I'll give you a card.
Okay. Finally, I've asked many, many times to the manager. There have been a lot of different managers I've had to talk to, just about dragging the tables in and out. Because I don't think anybody understands how loud it is. They're metal bottomed tables, and you're nodding your head. They're metal bottom heaters, and at 5 a.m. they just get dragged. Like it's a half an hour process, and then at 11:30, midnight, they get dragged back in. And if you want to make a friend in the neighborhood, you say, okay, I see that's a problem. We'll make sure we won't do it. We'll have enough people on staff to carry these things in. And a week goes by and it all starts all over again. Same with the table setup. They moved the tables in a little bit when they got busted for being, not compliant with what that. That permit is revocable.
Now, do you have a copy of that order that the Building and Safety actually issue an order? And the reason I'm asking is because Building and Safety generally doesn't have jurisdiction on the public right.
It was the Building and Safety is the guys who actually go out and check if they're doing what the revocable permit said they could do. And they went out and they had to reconfigure all their tables so that they weren't double tabled with 4 chairs. They had to be all 2 tops, so they had to be 24 inches, no more than 24 inches. Well, now they're turned the correct way, but now there's this barrier. There are these, and I can show you the picture, there are these block barriers that are now basically my tenant cannot walk down with a stroller anymore. So I'm thinking wheelchairs, strollers, I mean, that's a no-brainer. If you can't get through, you can't put seating there. And then, when people sit down, they put their bags and their purses and their dogs, and then in my mind, the simple solution is to not have seating on Dudley. It really shouldn't be there anyway. That's how we get down from our homes to Oceanfront Walk.
Thank you.
I'm losing my voice because I've been screaming so much at the city about this. If you let this go through, I will sue the restaurant and the city. One, they don't have any security, so they're going to be suing to minors. I actually have witnessed patrons order, and then when the waiter goes away, people have ordered like a barrel of a bunch of beers, and they're handing to kids on the sidewalk who are underage, and they don't do anything about that. Additionally, I've gone there, and I put down a $100 bill, and I had to go run an errand because they said it'd take at least 20 minutes to fix a lunch for me. And they served me a Corona. When I came back, it was another hour, and then they made me leave. And I paid $100 for Corona. They never gave me my change. And they said that they give it to Zulu, the guy who says that he's leasing the property and that they're assholes to deal with. And the Zulu got robbed 3 weeks ago and has been mysteriously missing. And their people asked me when I wouldn't go to the restaurant anymore because they had me trespassed and were going to have me arrested. When I filed a complaint with the police that I'd been robbed, their counter complaint was they were having me arrested because there was a problem in the area, which is horseshit. I do television and film. I'm a federal contractor. I'm on the beach working with the Department of Justice on some of the crimes going on, and there's a lot of drug traffic going on in the restaurant also. I think it should be shut down. And additionally, because I called yesterday when I was robbed by the hostess stand, when they asked me to call Zulu and get information and give the number to the fucking owner who wouldn't even come out and see me and was there. I saw him there and wouldn't come out and see me because he knew I got robbed for another $100. I'm not only suing him for that now, I'm going to sue the city for civil rights violations and for the fact that the last 40 years in this city, you have cost my companies worldwide over $500 million by break-ins to my house, by break-ins and robberies on the beach. On the last year alone, $3 million in robberies on Venice Beach. Get some goddamn real cops. They're running the drugs and the sex traffic with people like this. I want it shut down, or I will sue the entire city. I'll bring you to federal court. He's on the top of the list, Kurt Kelly. Yeah, I'm pissed. And I videotaped this. This is going to the Department of Justice today. This will be turned over to the F.B.I. I want you extradited out of this country. I want you going back to the Middle East, you fucking terrorist pig.
Excuse me, sir.
No, I'm done. If you terrorize I am in the staff. I've been robbed by them. And you know it. Shut up. Shut up, I'm leaving. You know what? It's on public record. Beat me. I'll sue you. No, I'm not. At all. And I'll sue you if you keep talking that way, slanderous cunt. I'm pissed. I'm a professional broadcaster, you assholes. If this project goes through, you're all getting sued. Every one of that fucking room. criminal co-conspirators in on the drug and sex traffic. You fucking slime bags. Shut that fucking building down. Shut the fucking building down or I will. I'm bringing the DEA. You fucking assholes. I want them deported. And tell Garcetti I'm suing him personally.